I was on workathomemom.com, and I was on their email list. And one day in September of 2015, I got this email and it had an article on starting your own bookkeeping business at home, your own virtual bookkeeping business by some guy.
I love bookkeeping.
Hello and welcome to the I Love Bookkeeping Show. I am your host, Ben Robinson, and with me today I have one fine lady, somebody that I have got the chance to meet on numerous occasions. She is the owner of Purple Sapphire Business Solutions. Don't call it Purple Passion Business Solutions. She is mom, get this, to 9 children. One that's a Marine and one that is 4 years old, and then everything between. That is so cool. She lives in the Denver, Colorado area, and we are excited to have with us today Kirsten Reeder. Welcome, Kirsten.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, so let's just first dive into first things. You grew up in Russellville, Arkansas, and I grew up in Conway, Arkansas. Now, for those of you who don't know, which is most people, Conway is the domineering town, and Russellville is the subservient when it comes to all things athletics and academics. So just want to get that out of the way. You come from the Cyclone, I come from the Wampus Cats. So
that's right.
No rebuttals
and
there.
What is a Wampus cat?
Who knows? 6-legged thing that runs around, mythical creature. But it's so funny that our paths have crossed, and we never knew each other growing up, obviously, being 40 miles away, and I think 4 or 5
We
years.
know some people that are the same.
We do. We do.
Yeah, we have mutual acquaintances.
Yeah, absolutely. They probably won't claim either one of us, but that's okay. And all right, so let's just kind of dive into this. We always want to figure out what form of crazy that you are to start a bookkeeping business. So let's go back, kind of give us the skinny, like what made you decide to start a bookkeeping business?
Oh, well, that is a long story. So I took an accounting class in high school a million years ago, and I thought it was the most fun thing ever. And that was back in the days of like paper bookkeeping and before debit cards and all that sort of stuff. And so they gave us like this little packet that we had to pretend was our business, and we had like a month that we had to be the bookkeeper for. And I thought that was so fun. I just loved it. And so I went to college to my major was accounting, but I didn't want to be a CPA because I didn't want to do taxes. And now I'm an EA, but whatever. I still like bookkeeping better. But and then I dropped out of college because my husband was in vet school and I got tired of living on student loans. And then I became a mom, and I was a stay-at-home mom for, 18 and a half years. And over the years, I've been trying assorted at-home businesses like direct sales type stuff, party plan things, and because I like owning a business and I wanted to help our family budget, and nothing ever really jived. And I was on workathomemom.com, and I was on their email list, and one day in September of 2015, I got this email and it had an article on starting your own bookkeeping business at home, your own virtual bookkeeping business by some guy wrote this article. I don't know. Some weirdo. Yeah, some sketchy guy.
Conway. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And actually that's when I saw the address, I was like, I know right where that is. I like the ad because at that time, I think the address on the article or, on the website was Conway, Arkansas. And it was
at the time.
I knew the address because I went to college at UCA for a while. And I was like, I know right where that is. And so that was the legitimacy that I needed to know that it wasn't just this sketchy thing. And so I looked into it and I participated in, like you had like a Q&A webinar thing. And because I was kind of like, oh, I don't know, is this really the real deal? And it was funny. I was really praying about it, and is this what I need to do? And then I got free tuition by typing in something about uh, bulldogs drool or something you had
Bulldogs
written
rule,
on.
Razorbacks drool. That's what it was.
That is not what it said. It had something about Georgia or Alabama or something.
It
Anyway,
wasn't Alabama.
but
No.
I don't
Sorry, all
remember what
Crimson
it
Tide.
was. Okay. But anyway, you had said, for free tuition, it was written on the whiteboard behind you. For free tuition, type this into the chat box. And so I was like, oh, okay, you didn't mention it. And so I did. And next thing I know, you're like, oh, Kirsten Reader gets free tuition. I'm like, well, okay, cool. So that's how I got started with it. I've just always wanted to do this, and I never had the opportunity. In fact, back in like 97, I was living in Oklahoma, and my stepmom at the time was living here in Colorado, and she wanted me to be her bookkeeper, but we could not figure out how to get her stuff to me because it was 1997. The technology wasn't readily available to do things virtually. And so now here we are 20 years later, and I'm like, oh my gosh, technology finally caught up with the idea that I had a long time ago. And
Here you are.
That's just, here I am. Yeah.
So if we were to encapsulate in one word why you started your bookkeeping business from home, what would that be?
One word.
I know that's hard for you, Kirsten, but one word.
I know. One word, freedom.
Freedom.
I think. Yeah.
When I ask people that, that's the number one word that comes up. That or some derivative like flexibility.
Yeah, freedom.
So, it starts with F. Freedom. We always say it's freedom, family, finances, flexibility. It's all of those things, never having to give up one for the other.
Right.
And so
right.
that's awesome. So you saw this class, and obviously we're talking about Bookkeeper Business Launch. And everybody here probably knows that this is a course. It's kind of like having a guide to carry you up to the top of a mountain, but it doesn't carry you up to the top of the mountain by physically walking.
Right.
It's something that you have to do. So you went through the course, obviously. And at that time, it was our very first version. This was 3.5 years ago. When I look at that and look at what we have now, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm embarrassed. But hey, that's getting up.
But it was awesome.
Oh, it was awesome. But at the time, it was the first iteration. So you went through that. Now, obviously, we don't provide you with clients or anything. So let's walk through some of the things that got you up to where you are today. So let's back into it. Where are you today? How many clients do you serve?
Regular monthly bookkeeping clients. I now have 4. I just lost one. I have had up to 9 at any one given time, and I have fired some. They have ended up going a different direction. So currently, right now, I have 4 regular monthly bookkeeping clients. And then I also became an EA, and I have some tax only clients that I'm working with.
Okay. Well, good. So going from 0 clients to 4 clients, and by the way, is this something that you want to expand upon, or are you happy?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I figured
we're talking
with knowing the challenge that we're going to cover, the opportunity, I should say, that we're going to cover here in just a minute. Okay. So, and like every business, it has its ups and downs. So obviously everybody here should be under the, they should actually know that starting a business is hard. It is hard. But the rewards and the benefits of that long term far outweigh the difficulty that you're going to face. But let's talk about that. I like to hit the difficulties head on. So what was like starting off, you went through the class, like what was the first challenge that you had to overcome in your business?
I think first challenge.
Or any challenge. I mean, it could be something, but
probably time management.
9 kids in a business.
9. Well, and I homeschool them.
Oh my!
So they're here all the time, and so yeah, and I live in my car because not many of them have driver's licenses, and so I'm constantly driving them hither and yon.
Right.
So that's probably been my biggest challenge, I think, and I'm working on that. I have arranged some things this year, and so it's getting a little bit better to overcome that challenge. But that, and I think marketing, but that kind of goes into the challenge slash opportunity that we're going to be talking about later.
Sure.
But that probably is the biggest one for me.
Yeah, I would say so. 9 children. Of course, one of them's out of the home, so that makes it totally easier. But 9 children, homeschool all of them, mom's taxi service, all of this, as well as
Yeah.
taking care of a household, a husband, and now a business. So I
Yeah.
really commend you for that, because there's no way I don't think I could do that. I don't know how you get any sleep, or if you do,
I
or if you're
that
drugged
was
or
I
what.
was just gonna say I don't require a lot of sleep.
Well, yeah, yeah, obviously not.
No.
Yeah. Uh, all right. So I do want to dive in. So time management,
Hmm.
obviously, being very intentional about it, I think would be a requirement for you. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you can't just wake up in the morning and go, I wonder what I'm going to do today. I mean, you have to like have it
Exactly.
down almost in a militant manner.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah. So I do want to actually dive into the marketing challenge that you had initially, because it's one that most of us face when we start a business, especially when we start a bookkeeping business, because
Hmm.
we're kind of wired, most of us. I know that you aren't, but most of us are introverts that are in this profession, which makes us predisposed to be very good at what we do. But sometimes the marketing, at least it's perceived to be a challenge. So kind of walk me through, what was your challenge that you had to overcome when it came to marketing, getting clients?
Um, I think putting something out there, content, I think, that would get people interested in what I had to offer without coming across really salesy and um like I mean I figuring out a way to kind of set myself apart as, oh wow, she really, have you heard of her? She really knows what she's talking about, without me saying, "Hey, I want your business," constantly. That walking that fine line, I think.
Okay. All right. So, uh, putting your message out there, but not seeming like that you're a used car salesman. Okay.
Yes,
I
yes.
gotcha. So, how did you get your very first client?
My very first client is, and she's still with me, just had her third anniversary at the beginning of this month. She is a friend of mine online that I have known for about 20 years. And we were on like a mom's board thing, I think. And they own a small business. And I saw her talking on Facebook about how difficult it is to find quality employees because they were losing their in-house bookkeeper. She was moving and she was really struggling to find a good replacement for her. And I kind of jumped in and I said, "Hey, if you ever consider outsourcing to someone else besides having an in-house bookkeeper, let me know." And she was like, "Huh, let's chat about that." And so we started talking like in a private message, and that's how that started.
Yakety
So
yak.
yeah, exactly. Yakety yak.
Yes, we keep tabs on everybody as much as we can, our students inside of Bookkeeper Business Launch and otherwise. And yakety yak, just going out to your network and saying, "Hey, I'm starting a
Yep.
bookkeeping business." That's pretty much the
That,
message.
and it's still 3 years later. I was at drum lessons on Monday,
I didn't know you played the
and
drums.
I don't, but 3 of my children
Oh,
do.
jeez. So there's no quiet in your house.
Oh my gosh. We have 3 sets of drums in our house. We have a regular set, a junior set, because my 4-year-old plays too, and then an electric set. I love the electric set
Oh, yeah.
because
Turn it off.
it's quiet.
Yeah.
Yes, it's quiet.
Yeah.
So anyway, we were at drum lessons and the teacher said, "So tell me about your bookkeeping business." And long story short, he's kind of annoyed with his bookkeeper and isn't sure that he's getting quality services. And he has 3 DBAs under his business. And so he wants to keep them separated. He doesn't even know how to even look at QuickBooks to see how his business is doing, blah, blah, blah. anyway, still, even now, 3 years later, Yakety Yak is still kind of my primary means of getting clients.
Yeah. And so many people. I just did an interview not too long ago with Amy McGlory, and I believe
Hmm.
she has double-digit clients, and she's not spent a dime on
Yeah.
advertising. It's all been word of
Yeah.
mouth. But
Yep.
she's paying a price, and as are you. It does take time and effort and energy and follow up and doing things that put you outside of your comfort zone. So
Right.
good for you. Good for you. Now, so here you are today, and
Uh-huh.
what's the vision for your business? Really, where do you want to take it? Where do you see it in a year and maybe 3 years from now?
Are you wanting like
Oh, I
dollar
mean, no, not
amounts?
so. I mean, not so much that, but like,
Okay.
what is it going to be? What, like, if you achieve whatever the dollar is, we don't need to know that, but what is that going to
Okay.
do? Like, what's the end game? What are you going to be when you grow up in this business? What's it going to do for you and your family?
I am going to live in Belize, and as long as I have good internet and good electricity, I'm gonna work from the beach. And I'm like, okay, Southwest flies into Belize City. I'm good. I can, get back to the States when I need to, and there you go. But yeah, I want to live someplace warm, and I need to be able to run my business from someplace warm. And I want to be able to support me, my kids, whichever ones are left at home at that time, and be able to travel to wherever any grandkids that I have live without, I want to be able to be the grandma that, oh, new baby, I'll just stay for 2 weeks and help out and not have it disrupt my whole business life. And I want to be able to, go wherever I need to be and things like that. So business wise, that's like my vision, I
Sure.
think, of what I want my life to look like. How that translates to my business, I'll need subcontractors working under me doing a lot of the bookkeeping work. I'll need a VA to do the administrative stuff, which I've already hired. Woo!
Good job.
I feel so official.
Yes.
And so, because I won't be able to handle the workload that'll require in order to afford all of that. So, I want a mini empire,
Okay.
like you've talked
Oh,
about.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we always talk about that tiny biz, little biz, small biz, and mini
Mm-hmm.
empire, where you have more than 30 clients, but it's not just about that. It's about the lifestyle and what you just articulated, which I think is an extension of the word that you used earlier, freedom.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Freedom now is defined different than it's going to be when you're living down there and sipping pina coladas on the beach
That's
or purple
right.
passion, whatever is your flavor, right? Although you know that there will still be work involved. But
Oh, yeah.
I like that because how you're setting yourself up as virtual is doing that, right? It doesn't matter where you are or where your clients are,
Mm-hmm.
you can serve them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of the keys that we talk about in serving clients is, hey, make sure that you're serving a particular market or a niche, or as
Right.
the fancy people call it, a niche. So I will just say, since I'm a redneck, I will say niche because that's what I know, and I would be faking it if I said the other way. But so let's start getting into a little bit of the marketing and a little bit of the
Okay.
opportunity that is before you. So why don't you tee this up for the audience so that they know what is going on and what we're going to be talking about here?
Okay. So when I first started my business, my niche, I say niche too, probably because I got it from you. Um, my niche was sustainable agriculture. Because I was very passionate about that at the time, farming and things like that, and specifically the sustainable one because they are typically the ones that have more money. They are very interested in doing things without debt, and that's kind of where the market is going in that realm. And I heavily marketed to them for about a year, And I became known at least among colleagues as the farming bookkeeper person. And, but I wasn't getting any clients. And after talking at Boost with you and some other people, we realized these people are just do-it-yourselfers at heart. They enjoy doing that. Once they may need someone to teach them how, but then they want to be left on their own to do it themselves.
And do it, you're talking about the actual bookkeeping.
The bookkeeping,
Yeah.
yes.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. And some of the people that I talked to, they actually left corporate finance jobs to farm. And so they knew how to do it. They knew how to create their own spreadsheets and all this other stuff. And they knew more about it than I did, actually. So then I started looking at, okay, my first client, my biggest client is in the tourism industry. They have an activity-based business for tourists and things like that. And so I thought, okay, that can be my niche. I've already got a client in that niche. And so I started marketing heavily towards them, and I was able to gain a little bit of traction. Targeting them is difficult, especially when it comes to things like Facebook ads, because their characteristics aren't necessarily something that you can check a box to aim an ad toward. Excuse me. So I kind of struggled with that. Well, then I started learning about cannabis bookkeeping about a year after that. And I live in Colorado. So
Rocky Mountain High.
that is the truth. And it's so funny because my kids are like, oh, I smell weed. I smell weed. All my kids know what weed smells like just from driving down the road. So
Right. Yeah.
anyway, so they, and it is a very, very good opportunity. It's highly complex, and the income can be very lucrative with it. It does come with a lot of challenges because it's federally illegal and things like that. And banking is an issue and stuff like that. And so I spent about maybe about 8 months really marketing and targeting that niche. There is so much brain power involved in the cannabis niche, though, because bookkeepers not only have to know the bookkeeping, they have to know all sorts of laws, because attorneys and CPAs don't necessarily know how to do things. Entity selection and
Well, it's just kind of the wild, wild west. So it's not just attorneys, it's the
is.
bookkeeper, it's everybody, unless you were just
It's everybody.
entrenched in it.
Yeah. And so in order for me to know that I'm serving my clients well in that niche, I would need to know so much more than just bookkeeping. And with some of the things going on in my in my personal life, I did not have the bandwidth to deal with that. And so I've stepped away from cannabis bookkeeping for now. And what's so interesting is that even though I had stepped away from the travel and tourism, I've been getting some referrals and calls from people in that industry. And I'm like, where were you a year ago when I was actually targeting you? But so now currently, I guess you could say I'm nicheless. I'm a generalist, because so many of my all of my clients have come either word of mouth or some sort of referral from someone that I already just know, or another bookkeeper. And so I have clients in all different areas, but I really want to niche in something.
Mhm.
I just don't know quite
Okay.
what or
Okay. All right. So I think this is
so that's how I came where I came.
all right.
That's how I ended up where I am. Yeah.
Awesome. So obviously, this is about marketing, which is great. I love marketing. And when it comes to marketing for everybody out there, you know this, you've heard me say it a million times, but marketing is about three elements in this order of importance. Number one is knowing your market, your niche in this
Hmm.
case. Number two is knowing your message to that market. And then number three, and least important, is the media. Where do they hang out? Where do you broadcast your message? And that can be from a wide
Right.
range. So we're really focusing on the very most important part of marketing, and that is your market. That is your niche. But let's back up just a second. So the four clients that you serve on a monthly basis, are they all in four different industries? Okay.
Yes. That's the crazy thing.
So out of the four that you serve right now, who is your favorite client? Not thinking about it from an industry standpoint, but which client makes you smile the most and makes you get most interested in what you're doing for them? I mean, you don't have to give me their name, but
Yeah, let me
let's dive into that. Like, who's your favorite one? What are the characteristics of this person? Because it's a person that
of the
we're serving,
person.
not a business, right?
It is, yes. I like my tattoo shop client the best as far as who they are as people. They're really cool.
Okay.
They're really
All
cool.
right. Yeah. Is it a
Um,
is the owner female or male?
Male.
Okay.
It's a partnership. They have three owners.
Okay. But the one that you deal with most is male.
Yes, and he's from Arkansas too.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Is so he's male. How old is he? Like, is he close to your age?
I think he's a little bit younger. I'd say he's probably in his
Okay.
30s.
And you're in your 20s, so that's good.
Right.
uh,
Like the 22, almost the 22-year-old
yeah,
son.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. It is Arkansas where we grew up, so sorry. This is my
I
home
might
state. I
I'm
can talk about that.
he might be my brother for
Yeah.
all I know.
There you
I
go.
don't know.
All right, we digress. So one just and the reason that I asked this is that we
Uh-huh.
get hung up so many times on industry equaling niche, and that's only one
Oh.
component of a niche. And it's really where we can go to that's easiest to find. But a lot of times we can go and find a market not based just upon industry, but based upon characteristics. Because as we talk about becoming a 21st century bookkeeper, we're talking about going from a service to an experience, creating an experience for our clients. We're talking about going from being transactional to being relational. We're talking about going from serving masses to serving the quality few. And as we do all of these things, the relationship aspect of that, the demographics, the person that you are serving, it's not a business, it's an individual that you're serving. This is not B2B, it's always P2P, person to person. So, one of the things that I think would be very wise for you to do, number one, is just to go out there and get some clients. And right now, put on a shelf, okay, on a low shelf, not a high shelf, but put on there the determination that you have to have a niche right now. It's where you want to go. And in 18 to 24 months, that should be insight. It should be something that now you know, because what I sense is that we've kind of been going haphazardly at our niches, right? We chose
Mhm. Mhm.
sustainable farming, and then we chose travel industry, and then we chose cannabis. And the reason that you're getting some success from the travel is that it takes a while, and it's totally natural. And you said, "Where were you last year?" Well, we don't
Yeah.
just start advertising and it happens overnight. It's not a magic bullet. It's not an overnight success. So one of the things that I would tell you to do, first and foremost, is to put on the shelf that I need to have a niche. And I would just
Okay.
go out there and get clients, because now you want clients that are going to allow you to lead that lifestyle that you want to lead,
Uh-huh.
right? They need to be virtual, or excuse me, you need to serve them virtual. They could be your next door neighbor, or they could be
Mhm.
across the country. It doesn't matter. You still serve them in a virtual capacity, because that's going to fuel the lifestyle that you want to lead by living down in Belize. Or if you change your mind down the road, you want to live somewhere else, or you want to travel, all of these are choices that you have because of what you're creating now. So first thing is, let's not worry about a niche. Let's go out there
Okay.
and get some clients. If they're tattoo parlors, great. If they're cannabis, great. If they're tilt-a-whirl operators, great. Just get some clients. But Don't take on any and everybody. Really focus on that relationship. And that's really what I kind of want to dive
Okay.
in with you here now on. But so far, does that make sense? Like, hey, take the pressure off yourself for finding a niche right now.
It does. Like, okay. Yeah, I'm interested to hear about like different the person characteristic type.
Well, for that, you're gonna have to put in more money and get the upgraded package. No, I'm just kidding. We're gonna dive into that right now. We're gonna dive
Okay.
into that right now. Okay. So one of the things that I hear, from you and from a lot of people is, this lifestyle that we want to lead, this freedom that we want to lead, we really want to serve people that we like. And you said, I believe that the guy that you serve that's in the tattoo parlor is cool, right? He's
Yeah.
cool. We don't want to work with assholes. None of us want to work with that. And as we start to work with fewer and fewer clients, but offer more and more services and go deeper and deeper with them in a relationship, it's important that we don't go after the masses, that we go after people whom we truly enjoy serving,
Yeah.
who we,
Like this guy. Oh, I'm
oh,
sorry.
go ahead.
Keep
Go
going.
ahead. No, I want to hear.
I would say this guy, I mean, they're tattoo artists, and so they are covered in tattoos, but they're very savvy businessmen. Like they have an ATM in their entryway that is open to the public. And so they actually make money off of their ATM fee, like quite a substantial amount off ATM fees because people can just walk in off the street. And they've gotten some really good advice on how to operate that ATM, maybe set it up under its own LLC, stuff like that. So they aren't just, kind of doing this like, oh yeah, I'll start a tattoo shop, da 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 da. They are like businessmen who just look a little different than most businessmen. And as you know, I have purple hair and a nose ring and a tattoo. And so I look a little different from the average bookkeeper. And so maybe that's why I like these guys,
Yeah.
I think maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, good. So one of the things that I think we should start to do is to really dream and start to scope out who
Okay.
is your ideal client. Another word for that is who is your avatar. And
Okay.
I'm going to provide in the show notes here a link to Digital Marketer's Customer Avatar Worksheet, which is very, very good. It's free. It's on their website. It's digitalmarketer.com/blog/customer avatar worksheet. Don't worry about that. I just wanted to get that into the show notes. We'll put them in there so that you can see that you can go and get this. But one of the things that it really covers is not just looking at what industry that they are in, but who are they as people? That's the most important thing.
Okay.
And as we start to develop our niches, as we start to hone in on our market, I think that those soft qualities are much more important than just saying what industry. Now,
Okay.
it is easier and it is advantageous if you can say industry as well, if we can layer these. But most of the time, what we do is we, at first, like you, right, we take on any client who fogs a mirror and has money,
Uh-huh.
right?
Uh-huh.
And that's totally fine. That's just part of the evolution. We should do that so that we get our business going. We should do that so that we start to earn money and that we gain experience and that we build momentum. All of those things are great. But then we start getting into the realm where, like, okay, I need to start getting more intentional on this. I'm not charging enough. I'm being used. These are people that, I may or may not like working with. And we start to really kind of hone in on what it is that we want. But if we didn't know what was out there to begin with, then it's kind of like if you dated 7 people and you had a really crappy boyfriend and then the next one was decent. He looks really great because the previous one was a really piece of crap. Well,
Uh-huh.
we really have to have some sort of barometer to say who is it that we want to serve. So industry is one way to niche, but human characteristics and who they are as people is another way to niche, and we want to layer those together. So usually what we say is industry and then the demographics, but I think in your case, since you've already got some experience here, is to really map out who it is that you want to serve.
Okay.
Really dive deep in that. Really start to think into this client that you like to serve, like what is it about them? Like really you have to set aside some quiet time, but start writing down characteristics. And this is not something that you're going to do overnight. It's an organic creation, right? And you're gonna take on a new client And you're going to start to say, okay, I really like them. Well, why do I like them? What is it about them? And start to build guidelines for who your ideal client is. And this does a couple of things. Number one, it makes your marketing effort so much easier when you know who it is that you want to serve. If we try to serve everyone, we serve no one. And that's what 90% of bookkeepers do. They just will serve anyone. And
Right.
that's just natural, right? There's no fault in that. But I think over time, we really want to get focused because we're doing a service, a true service to our clients. If we do this, we're doing a true service to ourselves. We're making ourselves happy. And in turn, we make our families happy and we provide for them financially. So for you, Kirsten, is to really dive into what type of person do you want to serve?
Mm-hmm.
And starting to craft this out. In the meantime, that does not need to stop you from going out there and getting any and every client.
Right.
If it's a music store, great, go get them. If it's a veterinarian,
Yeah.
great, go get them. If it's cannabis, if it's anything that is an industry that you want to serve, start looking more at the person that you want to serve.
Okay.
And this is why it's kind of like in building a team. I always say hire slow, fire fast. And
Mm-hmm.
what this requires is that you have to take a methodical approach to vetting every single client that you get or every single client that you're considering taking on. Most people want to expedite that process. I want to intentionally slow it down because I want to experience how it's going to be to work with this client over a period of time. I want to ask them to do things that they are going to have to do in our relationship. I want to make sure that
Ah,
I'm serving somebody that doesn't want to just abdicate what they just want to say, here's the bookkeeping. I don't even want to think about it. No, we don't want somebody that is just going to abdicate. We want somebody who's going to collaborate with us.
okay.
Right. So be a little
Okay.
bit of a Dr. Seuss here. Don't think abdication, think somebody who wants collaboration.
Okay.
And really start to slow down that process and thinking about, hey, is this somebody that every single time that the phone rings and I know that it's her, or I see an email and it's him, am I gonna be like, "Yay, I'm ready. What you got? How can I help?" Or is it gonna be, "Oh, shit, it's that guy again." That's not who we want.
Yeah.
Not that we can be
Like
perfect with that.
I do have a client that every time I get a message from her on Facebook, like, hey, can we talk in a little bit? I'm like, oh, what did I mess up? And it's usually nothing. It's usually nothing that it's like, oh, we got this weird check and I don't know what to do with it type of thing. But I have this like, type feeling every time I get some sort of vague message from her. And yeah, that's,
Yeah.
I don't like that.
No. No, and so it's much like a relationship, a marriage or moving in or courtship, whatever the case may be. We don't, marry somebody immediately. We don't just go off the street. We court them. We want to make sure in a healthy relationship. Not saying that you can't find your soulmate and do that in 2 months, but typically that's not the case. It takes time. And as much as you're going to be emotionally invested in this relationship, and as much as they are going to be emotionally invested in this relationship, it is a plus for you and for them to take your time with it. And don't
Mm-hmm.
do this in a tricky way. Tell them up front, look, I'm probably not like most bookkeepers. If you want to start this tomorrow, this is not going to be it. I play a little bit hard to get in this case. I want you to know that I really take this serious. I only serve a handful of clients. So we're building in a little bit of scarcity here. I only serve a handful of clients. And the most important part of our relationship is the relationship. Would you agree? Oh, yeah, I agree. Totally. So I hope you understand that as we go through this. And by the way, I'm going to be giving you some help. I'm going to be giving you some guidance along the way, and I'm not charging you. All right. We're just going through this process. Does that make
Okay.
sense to you? And if they say, no, I want somebody to start tomorrow, bad sign, right? Not that you couldn't
Right.
serve them, but typically, if we're upfront and we're telling people why we're going through this process and why we are vetting them, it makes it so much better. And it's going to yield that client to be with you for a long time and not to get up, and only in 6 months to realize this person should have never been my client.
Right. I actually have someone right now that she really, really, really wants to use me. She's a friend, but she can't afford a bookkeeper. She just wants me to set her up and be there for like advisory stuff every now and then. And I'm kind of like, that's not what I do necessarily. But I even tried to say, hey, I've got some people who do that I can refer you to, and she really didn't, she really wants to work with me. Do I need to, I think I know the
What's your
answer.
gut say?
I need to just tell her that's not part of my services,
Yeah, I mean,
basically.
and that's totally
Okay.
fine, right? I mean,
Yeah,
again,
it is.
we're looking for a good or a great match, not a perfect match. We can't check all the
Right.
boxes, right? I mean, we're humans. We
Right.
all have a little bit of crazy in us.
Yeah.
So there's no such thing as a perfect client, but
Right.
there are great clients and there are good clients and then there are bad
Hmm.
clients and then there are horrible clients, and we want to avoid the latter
Right.
two. So
Yeah, I think she'd be nice to work with, but I think that she would take up space that a better client
yeah,
could would could be in.
sure. A client that makes
So
you
yeah.
smile and one that you're ready to serve.
Right, right.
Because that brings me kind of to the second point of this, and your opportunity to say, "Hey, let's talk about a niche." That's a great part, and that's a great thing, and that's something that you need to be striving for. But really, it takes intentionality. It takes really
Mhm.
a dissection of every single client that you're thinking about serving, and every client that you do serve, and to really ask yourself, what is it that I like about this? And start to find the pattern. Start to
Okay.
find the common threads that connect these clients. Think back to other clients that you have served that are not with you,
Mhm.
but you really enjoyed serving them. Maybe they went out of business,
Right.
maybe they outgrew you, whatever the case may be. Think back to that.
Okay.
Think to the relationships that you have with your girlfriends. What is it that you like about them, right? I know that you come to our meetups that we have, and there's certain people you like to hang around. Like, what are the qualities? I'm really trying to build not like the perfect bookkeeping client. I'm trying to build out the perfect
Right.
relationship client.
You know what I have faced, and I can't mark it. I mean, I can't quantify this, but would I have drinks with that person? Would
Yeah,
I want to go out and have drinks with that person is kind of what my overarching theme is, and then maybe flesh out why would I want to go out and have drinks with that person
yeah, yeah. Obviously, in a professional sense,
thing.
but just the
Yes,
extension of that
but
is that, yeah, perfect.
you know, we'd get along, we'd hang out, whatever,
Yeah. Because here's
Um,
kind of the second part of all that. I mean, the reason that we want to do that is that one, we're no longer about serving the masses. I would imagine that you
right.
probably want to have 10 to 12 of the right clients to
Mhm.
make, six figures or more. And people are
Yeah.
like, "Holy
Yeah.
cow, how could you do that?" Well, underneath the old school 20th century bookkeeping model, it ain't going to work. But the 21st century bookkeeping model, which we talk about here ad nauseum, it definitely can, where you become a trusted
Mhm.
advisor, where you become the
Right.
person that they turn to, where you're not just checking a box saying, "Hey, here's some financial statements. I hope you enjoy them." You're really going above
Mhm.
and beyond, and they look to you for pretty much answers for anything as it relates to dollars and cents, and even sometimes beyond that.
Right.
And so that's why we have to build it upon that. And then, using those grassroots efforts of yakety yak, telling everybody, continue to do it, amp up your message, amp it up in terms of getting it across to more people and more frequently. Um,
Okay.
Yakety yak. Now, every place that you're in, without being obtuse about it, hey, I'm a bookkeeping professional. Do you need some help? Putting
Mhm.
that out there. Networking events. I know that your time is nigh, but if you can find, I know in the Denver area, there's a million networking events.
Yeah, and I'm a referral partner with an insurance guy who's on the Chamber of Commerce, and he's been inviting me to some of their events
Yeah. I
at the
mean,
chamber. Yeah.
that specialized groups online, right? And in
Mhm.
this case,
Mhm.
now you're thinking, all right, well, I don't, maybe it's not a group that's about cannabis. Maybe it's you determine that it's female entrepreneurs that have multiple children who homeschool. Maybe that's who you
Oh.
wanna serve, so I bet that there's a group out there, and look, we do business, and we tend to like people that are similar to us. I'm not saying they are us, but they're similar to us,
Ah,
right? So,
homeschool moms that have purple hair.
homeschool moms that have purple hair and 9 children, one's in the Marines and one that's 4, right?
Yeah.
There would probably be a group for that, but no, serious, like,
Yeah.
that you understand them from a human level. And this, if we build our relationship on that, the bookkeeping is an afterthought. If you
Right.
can sit here and talk, let's say that we had a room full of business owners, and you were talking to three, and one of them homeschooled their children. They had three. You have these commonalities with them, and you just like talking to her. You're like, this
Mhm.
is a cool person, and then you find out that she owns a business. Then you're like, hey, this is really cool. But you started the relationship not talking about their bookkeeping. You started about it from the
Right.
human element.
Yeah.
And so when you start to talk, so we're talking about yakety yak, telling everybody that that you have a bookkeeping business and you are taking on clients. Number two, going to physical networking events like BNI or Chamber of Commerce or Kiwanis or whatever it is in your area.
Mhm.
Then specialized groups, those are pretty much online versions of networking. That is a
Right.
great way. LinkedIn, using that, you have all the tools within Bookkeeper Business Launch and Bookkeeper Elite to do
Mhm.
all of this. But right now, take the pressure off of you. Take that, because I think what's happening is that, and this is a supposition on my part, but you're probably not doing any marketing because you feel stuck.
Good one. Yes, in fact, that was on my list of things to do. Come up with a marketing plan
Okay, so
based on your niche. Yeah.
yeah, so that's it, right? So
Yep.
and
Okay.
I really, and I kind of said that off the cuff with saying find specialized groups with female business owners who homeschool, but I guarantee you there's a freaking group out
They Oh, yeah.
that,
Oh, yeah.
and you can go in there. You already know the profession, right? So it's not about having knowledge; it's about having caring. It's being caring,
Right.
right? Um,
Yeah.
it's about building rapport with these individuals, these human beings that we are serving.
One thing that, especially with that particular characteristic right there, is their businesses tend to be they're micro businesses, not and that's one of the things that this gal that really wants to work with me, she has kind of a micro business. It's big enough to where she has to do something more than just spreadsheets, but she doesn't make enough to actually pay a bookkeeper. How do I need to handle that sort of thing?
Well, when you go in with your ideal clients and really kind of figuring out who it is that you want to serve, I don't think that that's a long
Okay.
term play for you.
Right. No.
We have
Yeah.
people, I'm thinking of Callie that's in our group. She pretty much serves micro businesses. She crushes it, and she spends like 30 minutes a month on each client and makes really good money. Now, there is certainly a niche for that. It's not one that I would pursue, but that's an
Right.
individual flavor, you know? Um, but
Okay.
going back to your point, like maybe you back off a level, maybe it's just female entrepreneurs who they have kids but they don't homeschool, so the first, we
Okay.
can take these things off. It's not like you want to find one group and get in there. You want to find
Right.
10 groups and really become a contributor, really become somebody that they know, that knows their stuff and is going to help them without any type of ulterior motive of thinking that you're going to get their business. I mean, you're
Right.
going in there, and as we always talk about, putting value first, giving information,
Mhm.
making yourself known. Like, crap, Kirsten just gave me all the information. I've been calling my CPA or my bookkeeper, and they haven't gotten back to me. And here she just gave me the answer. Heck, I'm going to use her. But
Mhm.
that takes
Okay.
time. You're not going to poke your head in there and
Yeah.
go, "Hey, I'm Kirsten. You want some bookkeeping?" It can work,
Right.
but right now it's more of a shotgun approach rather than the rifle that you were using.
Okay.
There's a time now we'll get that rifle back out, but right now it's really using everything at your disposal, every
Okay.
media, because your market now, you're going to define it, right? And let's go with instead of the industry characteristics, let's go with the human characteristics, okay?
Okay.
The message. So this is another important part, but really, uh, right now, your message can be as unsophisticated as I'm a bookkeeping professional. I love serving moms, mom entrepreneurs. Do you need some help? I mean, that could be your message right now. It's not a very compelling message,
Okay.
but it works. Okay. The most important thing, here's a great saying, a halfway decent message on the right market will do well. A great
Okay.
killer message to the wrong market will fall on its face every single time.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Try imagine selling Cialis to, uh, women, right? Without an ulterior motive, or, it's just
Right.
everything has its place. And
Right.
so it's just the people who listen to the show probably just stopped it right there, just listening, going, "Oh, he's talking about Cialis. How does that come up in a bookkeeping conversation?" Well, don't worry, it gets worse from here.
Oh,
Um,
that's right.
yeah, if you ever come to one of the private events,
Oh
and
my,
you know, yeah,
I was I was just thinking that same thing. Oh, this is nothing.
yeah, yeah, yes. When somebody, a guest, brings out Cards Against Humanity, I won't say who it was, but when
I
that is
don't know
played at my
who.
dining table, I know that it's gotten away from me. I digress.
Hey, I got an expansion pack for Christmas.
Great, great, awesome. I'm so happy you were not invited back. Um, no, but so now we have that message, right? So we have a market. It's not totally defined yet, but it's an organic
Right.
creation.
Okay.
We have that simple message that we have. You can probably tailor it now. Like you, I am a mom of multiple children. I try to balance and I understand. The bookkeeping doesn't need to be yet another thing that you have to put on your plate, blah, 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 your message. And then we go and use every media where we know that those people hang out, right? So we say, this is
Okay.
my market, as loosely defined as it will probably be. It'll probably be a little tighter than we think with that message. And then where are they? You know, who
Okay.
was it that they asked? Was it? I don't forget who it was. Like, why'd you rob the bank? Well, that's where the money is. Why'd you go to that
Right.
event? Because that's where my clients are. That's where my market hangs out. If they don't hang out there, then don't go.
That was one of my problems with when I was trying to target the travel industry.
Right.
I could never figure out where they hang out. There was
They're
not,
always
because there's
traveling.
not really. Yeah, I guess. Um, and it, it's interesting. So, like I don't know exactly what it is, but my USP, ISS, whatever you want to call it, um, is something like I I help finding legal and ethical ways to keep money in your pockets, not in the government's hands, because that's
Forget all
part
that
of
for right
my
now.
big thing.
Just go with
Okay,
that
forget all
basic
that.
message. Yeah. It's
Okay,
going to come out of these conversations because an ISS, for those of you who don't know, is what we call the Irresistible Selling Statement, which is your messaging, right? So marketing is about market, message, and media. So that's really, if people call it an elevator speech, it's a lot more eloquent than that. But it's
right,
basically, how do you make your potential clients' ears perk up and listen to you, what you're saying?
right.
What you have
Well, and
there.
that's what I was gonna say. My tattoo shop guys, they saw that and they were like, "Oh, I want her," because they really resonated with that. And so I thought, "Oh, I wonder if maybe I can
So
find people who think like that."
So if we were sitting there having a conversation, I said, "Hey, Kirsten, what do you do?" And then what would you say? Based upon that, what do you say to me?
Based upon
With
that,
your USP, just say that back to me. Hey, Kirsten, what do you do?
I find ways to keep money in your pockets legally, legally, and out of the government's hands. Well, here's the truth. It's my passive aggressive. I do what I do. It's my passive aggressive way to stick it to the man. Um,
Okay, so that's not going to work
keep
on the mom blogs. They're not angry white
no,
men. Um,
no. See, and I am.
right. I don't think you're an angry white man. Um,
Well, okay,
but
I'm not an
but
angry white man, but
that works on them. But that message,
yeah.
most likely, if it's the other audience, isn't going to work. So that's why I'm saying just back off of that for now. And saying,
Okay,
you know, identify with them.
okay.
I'm a business owner. I'm a mom of multiple children. I try to wear all these hats. I know how tough it is. Bookkeeping is the last thing in the world that you need to be spending your time on, the day to day, week in, week out stuff. I understand it. Let
Okay,
me take that burden off of you. I mean, that message right there, they resonate with, rather than saying, let's stick it to the man. That's probably not going to
okay,
work as well,
okay,
even if at all. So, that's what you need to do right now, okay? So, I
okay.
always like to bring this back around and know what your action items are. So tell me,
Yeah.
what are as a result of this here today, what are your action items?
I need to sit down and think about who, like, what are the characteristics of the people, not what they do necessarily, but of the people that I want to work with specifically. Um, and then find where they are and just start talking and listening um, to what their pain points and their frustrations. Um, and talking with them.
Okay.
Is that right? Is
Is that
that
right? No, no, don't ask me. This is your homework, not mine. I'm not
ah?
assigning anything.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
okay. So
Yeah.
by when are you going to have this done?
What am I?
Yeah.
But I thought it wasn't an assignment.
Well, I'm not. I'm asking you. Now, when are
Okay.
you going to have this done? I'm saying when are you going to turn this
When am I
into
going to have
me?
this? The first part, sitting down and really thinking, honing in on what the characteristics are. Let's see, what is today? Today is Friday.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. I think I'd like to do that over this weekend,
Okay.
actually.
Then
Um,
that's the thing to write down. I will blank, blank,
yeah.
blank by Monday. I'll have
Okay.
that done.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, by Monday I'll have that done. And then based on what those characteristics are, I need to find where they are,
Okay.
where these people are.
Let's put a number to it. Like, let's find X number of places where they hang out. That could be
Okay.
like it could. When I say hang out, it could be like, hey, I have 3 contacts that fit that profile that I know have businesses. There's this
Okay.
networking group.
Oh, okay.
There's this specialized group. So I'm going to find, like, I'm just throwing this out there, 5 potential places where I can broadcast my message. And the
Okay.
message could be me and you talking face to face. That's a form of a message, as is an email, as is a message that you're putting into a Facebook group of where your client hang out. But I would say, hey, okay, by Monday, I am going to
Mhm.
have the demographics, everything written out.
Mhm.
Use that customer avatar worksheet. Um, I'll send you a link after we get done here, and I'll also put it in the show notes for everybody else. Use that. So I'll have that done by Monday. And then by Friday of next week, I'm just throwing it out there, I will have
Mhm.
identified 5 places that I'm going to start broadcasting my message to this group.
Okay.
And now you have a easy way to say, did I do it or did I not do it? Not, hey, I'm going to do this, this, and this. Okay, well, let's put specific.
Right.
Now let's put dates on it. That's coming from me from doing OKRs, objectives and key results, which I'm a huge fan of, which I could talk about for a week, but I'm not going to because our time is up. Any questions for me, Kirsten?
When it comes to broadcasting my message, what just super quick, what would that look like? Because I don't want to just like waltz into a group and be like, hey, blah, 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 like what you're
Yeah, it's organic.
saying don't do.
Right. So it's
Okay.
at first here when we're talking about these more grassroots, these are one-on-one, right? They could be you and
Right.
I are,
Okay.
let's say I'm your target audience and you and I are speaking at a networking event at the Chamber of Commerce,
Oh,
at
okay.
BNI,
Okay.
and we're just chatting, right? So it could be there. It could
Oh,
be
okay.
putting this on your Facebook page saying, hey, I love serving mompreneurs. As a mom myself, it could be that. It could be an email to your current list. It could be inside of a specialized groups of going in there and helping and providing value in advance and not expecting anything in return. Um,
Gotcha.
there's a lot of different ways. It's again a shotgun approach and not a one way. So think, you're sitting there with you're shooting at birds, right? Not at big game. So think about it in that manner. It's not a
Okay.
either or. It's all.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
Well, Kirsten, I want to thank you so much for being a guest and playing along with us today. It's been a pleasure to have you on here.
It's been fun.
All right. Now, if you'd like to hear more great conversations like today's with Kirsten, then I want you to head on over to ilovebookkeeping.com because on that site, you're going to find all of the shows that we have, the notes, the resources, the link that I shared there today. And there's also a link on there that says be a guest. So if you want to be like Kirsten and come on here and be harassed by me, I would love to have that opportunity. There is an
It's awesome.
application. Yes, it is awesome. Thank you so much. There is an application on there that you can fill out. We love to help people. That's why we have the I Love Bookkeeping show. And finally, if you want to discover more about our programs, we talked about Bookkeeper Business Lunch, we talked about Bookkeeper Elite today, go to the courses page on the I Love Bookkeeping show. Again, Kirsten, thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful rest of your week. And thanks everybody in the audience for being great bookkeeping professionals. Bye-bye. Listen, if you would like to hear more great conversations just like today's, then I want you to head on over to ilovebookkeeping.com. There, you're going to find all of the shows, the notes, and some other great goodies that we have for you there. Now, if you'd like to be a guest on the I Love Bookkeeping show, there is a link that says Be a Guest. Go in there and we'll walk you through the process of getting on the show. And finally, to discover more about our programs, go to the courses page on the ilovebookkeeping.com site. There you have it, another great episode of I Love Bookkeeping. Thank you for being a proud listener, and thank you for being a bookkeeping professional. Enjoy the rest of your week.
I love bookkeeping. Here's a little shout to all my friends working hard at keeping the books. You want to change your life, you want to grow that biz, it's not as hard as it looks. Be a money guide, a profit coach, step up your game and see